Hello, I want to tell you about the child language and the speech perceptions and productions. Let's go. Child language, psycholinguistics in child language studies how people process language and how language use is related to mental processes and children languages. And psycholinguistics work to develop models of how language is processed and understood using evidence from studies of what happens when this process occurs. And they also study language disorders such as aphasia, which is impaired ability to use or understand words, and dyslexia, which is impaired ability to understand written language. In June, Carroll states that several aspects of psychology and linguistics discuss the study of how people use language systems and how they learn them. Normal children master most of their language started by the age of 5 or 6. Previous behaviorist assumptions to explain language development were largely due to imitations and reinforcement. Therefore, psycholinguistics argues that imitations is not enough. It is not just the mechanical repetitions that children acquire language, and they also get it through natural exposure from their environment. And the theory is the imitation theory. David Crystal, children learn language, start copying and imitating others. This is how children develop regional accents. And the innateness theory, Noam Chomsky language acquisition device. And there is the cognition theory from the Jane Spiegel about the child must understand word before. And the last, the input theory, similar behaviorism by Skinner. Based on cognitive theory, at 1 year old, he knows a lot, but it is hard to understand. He only said a few words, example, moms. And at 2 years old, he tends to interested in images that have colors. At 3 years old, he began to understand different things, and they know a lot words. And at 4 years old, began to store many syllables from previous years, and at 8 years old begins to imagine with what people tell. For example, word mom, tea, tawat, agi, poto, dotel, malah, and etc. And there are language stage and beginning age. Crying, bird, cooing 6 weeks, babbling 6 months, intonation patterns 8 months, 1 word utterance 1 year, 2 word utterance 18 months, word inflections 2 years, and etc. And Chomsky initially theorized that children was born with program language acquisition or LAD device in their brains. And there is language acquisition theory. The first empiricism, language is fully learned through environmental stimuli and behavioral responses. And the second, rationalism. Rationalism believes that reason is the main source of knowledge. And the social, the one that will summarize the communicative intent of the speaker and use information to guide their language learning. And the perceptual, the baby's perception set the stage. Auditory perceptual skill at 6 or 12 months of age can predict vocabulary. And there is a theory of speech predictions, target model. Target model describes speech prediction as a process in which a speaker attempts to attain a sequence of target corresponding to the speech sound he is attempting to produce. and a speaker can achieve the target no matter from what positions the articulators begins the movement. The fact that articulators must reach a particular position from different starting point is important because it means that the movement of the articulator for a specific sound cannot be inference but must change depending on the starting point. And this dynamic system models in this kind of theory, the dangers of freedom problem is addressed by positing that groups of muscles link up together to perform a particular task. These linkages between muscles are not fixed. X muscle might be grouped with a set of muscles in which is called a synergy or a coordinated structure to achieve one particular goal, and with a different set of muscles are different. There are speech or perception. The first perceptual acoustic cues category, there are phase, onset time, high-low, and frequency patterns. And the second perceptual units are developed through repeated exposure to speech patterns. And the third, there is a model. And step 2, speech perception. The process of perceiving speech begins at the level of the sound signal, and the process of addition. For a complete description of the process of addition, see hearing. After processing the initial auditory signal, speech sounds are further processed to extract acoustic cues and phonetic information.